Whoa, yay, yay. Rise and grind, folks. Guys, I am on the way to an existing maintenance customer. I believe this is an AC maintenance. We did a bunch of work here. I know this customer has an older furnace. I think it's an older 80% gas furnace and a straight AC coil and condenser. I know we replaced the motor, and then it replaced almost every part in the furnace. I think the AC is newer, but I don't know if anything was done with the outside AC unit as far as any repairs. But guys, nonetheless, I'm almost there right now. Let's go take a look. I'll see y'all when I get inside. All right, guys. I just turned the AC on. This is our 30+ euro furnace, but knock on wood, this thing is still running like a champ. Filter is clean. Customer usually replaces the filter themselves. And this is my drain line. As you can see, there isn't much to clean out. However, I was telling the customer this yesterday, typically the longer the drain line, the more likely it is to back up. So guys, if we didn't have a French drain here and this drain line went through to the other side of the basement, at that point, that's probable cause for me to flush either with my gallo gun or pour water down the drain to make sure I can see where it goes out. But guys, typically, if it's like less than like 3 or 4 feet and it's going straight to a French drain, there's nothing wrong with pouring water down the drain. But at this point, there isn't much that can be clogged up here in the drain line. Now, every situation is different. If this is in the attic, you had a P-trap, and this is going down the length of the house, this can be different. But when in doubt, you can always flush your drains, but the smaller the length of the drain line is, the less likely this customer is going to have any issues with condensate backing up in the drain. Well guys, I got a 20-degree split. Let's put the filter back in and let's take this party outside. I'll see y'all outside. All right guys, this is a 14 SEER 3-ton Lennox straight AC. And it looks like the capacitor has already been replaced. I'm gonna clear that debris out the way. I don't know when this cap got replaced, but guys, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna clear some debris from this unit and I'm gonna turn the power off and check this cap. Let me get to it, guys. I'll be right back. We got a 45-5 cap. I checked my compressor side. We're at a 45.2. And yeah, 45.2, 5.03. We're spot on. Contactor is original, but it still looks good. And most importantly, this customer got maintenance done for at least, 3 years on the AC. I think she actually went through her home warranty company back in the day to replace this AC. But since she knew us from servicing the furnace, we just did the year-round agreement. So we just come out twice a year to clean both the heat and AC. But I'm gonna clean some debris from underneath these valves. Guys, let me do my thing here and put this cap back in. I'll be right back. Tech tip here, before I wire this cap back up, I know you guys heard the saying 80% of problems pertaining to heat and AC units are electrical. But guys, regardless if the issue is electrical, mechanical, whatever the case is, reading schematics is imperative to service. Installs as well. If you don't know how to hook up low voltage connections, everything resorts back to the schematic. Guys, if you don't learn anything starting off in service, I don't care if you start off with maintenance, you start off as a service tech, fixing things, this schematic is only here to help you out. Now, this is a newer 2020 Lennox AC system, so the schematic is legible, but you're not always going to get lucky. Sometimes you're going to have older systems where all the wires are the same color. You could have a brown wire for the start on the compressor, and you could have a brown wire for the start for the outdoor fan motor. Do not get fixated on the color of the wires, because the colors can always change. When in doubt, you can always resort back to your schematic. As long as you can find said component on the schematic, tracing the wires is ABCs. Last thing you want to do is just assume, just because this 2020 is a Lennox, that 1986 Lennox AC with all brown wires, everything hooks up the same way. Sometimes it do, sometimes it don't. But that one time it don't, you're gonna end up killing the compressor. I've been there and done that. So just take your time out there, guys, and you cannot go wrong. But let me hook this back up so I can test amps. I'll be right back. Got everything hooked back up. Compressor's at a 6.04, which is good. And as of right now, we're still getting chilly mornings, so I think right now it's like 49, 50 degrees. Today is only going to be a high of like slightly under 70 degrees, high 60s, but as of right now, it's still low 40s, high 50s. So as of right now, there isn't much humidity inside, so I know my amp draw, and if I were to hook my gauges up, my refrigerant levels are not going to be exactly the same as what you will see on a 75-degree day, but the fact that we got a 20-degree split, that's enough for me not to throw my gauges on. Now, guys, what I'm gonna do is check my contactor. Make sure we don't got a potential difference. Cool. Both sides are good. I want to know what you guys think about these exposed contactors. You know, the new ones that we put in, I think Packard makes the contactors that we install. The coil is fully encased. Now, guys, to be honest with you, I used to think that the fully encased coils would never short out, but I got a story time for you guys. This had to be like at least 3 or 4 years ago. For some reason, this customer didn't live in the country. She lived in the city. As soon as I opened up the panel, it was like 200 or 300 amps inside the unit. Now, guys, I don't know the science behind it. Someone said that the warmth from the capacitor attracts the amps or something like that. Maybe you guys can give me the actual breakdown of it, but something inside certain units attract amps, I guess in certain areas. But with this particular customer, amps is getting inside the condenser and it was shorting out the fuse. And she had a contactor just like this, and it shorted out the coil. I tried replacing the fuse and the fuse kept going. So that's what I did, was I replaced this contactor with a case contactor. Basically, like I said, nothing is exposed, everything is cased up, everything is covered. I'm thinking that's a permanent solution, nothing is going to be exposed. And guys, sure enough, as soon as I put the new fully encased contactor in, within 10 minutes of running, the new one shorted out too. And like, from that moment I knew that no contactor is foolproof against ants, guys, or insects. Because even though the coil is not exposed, the terminal still is. And it doesn't take much for either an insect, like an ant or a spider, to cross from one side to another. Not necessarily the coil, but if you touch two terminals together with 24-volt supply, you're gonna fry that coil. So, guys, like I said, that was a lesson learned. But yeah, guys, with that customer, we told her to get an exterminator. They had to spray something around that unit. I mean, guys, we only fixed the equipment. I can't tell you, you know, how to get rid of ants or rodents near the units besides getting an exterminator to spray something or put some type of repellent down around the unit. But yeah, guys, I don't know. We never went back there to fix it. We just told her before we put in another contactor, just get the exterminator. So hopefully she got that done and someone else came out there to do the job. But crazy things happen all the time, guys. But all right, what I'm gonna do, coils don't look too bad. I know this customer has a hose spigot on the other side of the porch there, but the coil looks good. This is only a 2020, so this is like a 6-year-old Lennox straight AC unit. Everything's still rocking and rolling. I gotta do the paperwork and I gotta head to the next call. There you have it, guys. AC maintenance, Lennox system, everything's copacetic. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.